The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Banking for better. Sign up today. Edge.Bamford SGPN to get a $12 deposit bonus. And welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is currently Sunday afternoon, about 5 p.m. Eastern Time on June 1st. We're in June. Time does fly. But either way, point is, should be a fun overall card to preview for June 2nd. Not nearly as many games tomorrow as there are today, but I believe we have 7 games on the card. We'll write down each of them in a second. Before that, though, I have to introduce my co-host, Dylan. How's it going with you? How's your weekend been?
My weekend's been really good. I've seen the board really well. Coming off 2-0 on Saturday. I'm 3-0 to start today. So, been pretty profitable for me. Can you guess 13 years ago what happened for the first time in New York Met history?
13 years ago today, I have to imagine it was the
We were in
Johan.
high school.
I was going to guess the Johan
Yep.
no-hitter. That was
Yeah.
my guess.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah,
though
that's
it was
exactly
BS.
it.
It was BS, but it still counts, I guess. But, you know.
Why was it BS?
There was a single down the line. Chalk flew up. They didn't call it.
They didn't call it.
It was clearly
He was
a
never
single.
the same, though.
No. I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, you kind of killed his arm from that because he threw 120 pitches for that. But
135 pitches. I watched the last 2 innings today before the Met game. I was like, no wonder he was never the same.
well, that was the thing about it was Lincecum who had that no-hitter against San Diego, and he threw like 148 pitches, and then he was just never. I think his career ended after that,
Yeah.
basically. So
Wow.
that used to be a thing. I had a feeling I knew where you were going with that because I do remember that being the first ever one. R.A. Dickey had a weird one with an infield single with an error, which I know didn't count. But I remember the Johan one was clearly a single down the line, and they just didn't call it. But chalk flew up and everything. But that's why it still counts.
We let Johan
It still
have
counts.
that. Yeah, it still
You did.
counts. Yeah,
But
exactly.
unfortunately, Johan never made the Hall of Fame, even though he was a great pitcher for a while with Minnesota.
Great pitcher.
But
yeah.
either way, congrats to sweeping the Rockies, by the way. The Yankees couldn't do it.
It was tough.
The Yankees couldn't do it, but you did it, so that counts.
Yeah.
Was it actually that tough, though? I thought you won every game by multiple runs. Didn't you dominate the entire series?
I was just saying, it was
not
tough.
difficult. You led for the entire series.
Shout out Clay Holmes going for 7 innings for the first time in his career. It's good to see him going a little longer into games as well.
I think you might go a couple innings against the Rockies, to be fair. But
we joked that they're like a AAA team. Scott, I don't even know if they're a AAA team.
What are they again? 9-50?
Yeah. I think they might be a AA team.
I mean, last year I said the White Sox would lose 120 games. The Rockies, I'm not saying they're going to lose 130, but we can have a conversation about it. There's a possibility this team might not end up reaching 35 wins in the season.
Do you think they'll go down as the worst team ever? Or at least in our lifetime?
It's really tricky when you factor in baseball itself because you have teams from the 1800s. Of course, you have the Cleveland Spiders, who are viewed as like the worst team of all time. I'm not counting that.
No, I don't either.
I'll go post-integration. I'll say yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough to match them. Usually a bad team gets to like 40 wins. The Rockies might have a hard time reaching like 30. That's how bad this team is. They are the worst team I've seen in a long time. And I called it pretty early on.
How was your weekend, though? Because I know yesterday wasn't a good one for the Yankees.
I mean, I haven't really paid much attention to the Dodgers series. It's actually kind of funny because the first game was the Judge and Ohtani home run fest, and the Yankees blew a massive lead, but it was on Apple TV. So I didn't even watch the damn thing. I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to watch? So I didn't even watch the game, and they were down like 8-5. They lost. Then yesterday, it's like, oh, yeah, that's right. The Yankees are playing. How's it going? Down 8-1 in like the second inning. I'm like, oh, so I just don't have to watch this either. I watched the Mets game anyway.
Nice.
I didn't watch the Mets game. I watched the Knicks game, anyway. So it didn't matter that much. But the point is, the Yankees, they can't beat the Dodgers. I mean, you might experience the same thing. You're going from the Rockies to the Dodgers next week, which is kind of interesting. But it's not been a good weekend for the Yankees. They've gotten their asses kicked, but they won, I think it was 8 series in a row. And the AL East is terrible. So I feel fine. I'm kind of just coasting.
Yeah.
The team, I don't think is good enough to win the title, but the division sucks. So I'm just going to keep hanging in there, just doing my own thing, I guess, just watching the Yankees.
They're 5 up of Toronto, and I don't know about you, but I don't think anybody on this podcast has really been high on the Blue Jays for the existence of the podcast, I would say.
It depends how you define high, because I know that Mal and I did the AL East preseason,
Mm-hmm.
and we did take the Blue Jays over on their win total. So we actually were.
What was it on?
Oh, it was like 78.5.
But still, that's not competitive for the Yankees.
No.
Like, yeah,
Point is, we thought they would be better than people thought.
that's fair.
I didn't think they'd be like good. Then again, they swept the A's, who have lost every game for like the last 2 weeks. So that doesn't really mean anything. But
Whatever happened to them? Because they were competitive for like the first month or 2 months, and then they hit like a downfall. Or did they just regress to their mean?
they're the A's.
Yeah,
That's what happened there.
Just take the over at home for them. The over's profitable.
The best part, the peak of A's baseball in the last 15 to 20 years was the creation of the movie Moneyball.
I was
That's
going
what they
to
have.
say that.
That's what they have. That's all they got right now. It's been a mess for a long time. But either way, a point is the A's, they gave it a good run for a couple months. They're going to be irrelevant until they move to Vegas, and then maybe they'll spend some money.
Stadium looks sick.
It does. We'll see
Yeah.
how it finishes, but the biggest contract in franchise history is Luis Severino. So you're not going to win anything.
Who we're actually talk about later in the show.
Correct. I mean, Severino's been fine, but that's not my point. The point is they don't spend actual money on real players, so I'm not going to take them seriously. That's kind of the point I'm making.
Yeah,
but
that's funny.
Point is, for the Yankees, I don't really care. I'm assuming they'll get swept. You had Yamamoto going tonight. That's not going to go well for the Yankees, but we'll see. Who knows? Division's not any good anyway.
It doesn't matter. You guys are going to win the division anyway, so
that's how I feel. Or
Yeah.
even if we don't, we'll get a wild card spot. So we're kind of taking a nap for the
win it,
playoffs.
Scott? I mean,
No, that's my point. Even if they
Yeah.
don't, they're going to make a playoff spot anyway. So I'll be getting October baseball no matter what.
yeah.
So I'm not really panicking at all. So
Me
we'll see what
either.
happens. But yeah, I mean, your team's been solid. So no reason for your team to panic either. Anyway, moving on to the actual games on the Monday card. According to that, the reminder, they do have new content coming out because the SGP guys are going to be ripping packs live on air next Monday night. They'll be breaking a case of Panini Prisms with dabs, and you get 10% off your favorite team with promo code SGPN. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/break to get in on the action. Moving on to the games that we have scheduled for Monday. Starting off with the series of the year. Rockies Marlins. For this one, you have Marquez against Meyer. You have the Marlins at minus 185. You have the Rockies at plus 155. Marquez 1-7, 7.13 ERA, but he has allowed 3 earned in his last 2 starts combined. So you know what? He's actually been better lately. Meyer, though, has not. In fact, he has been really bad recently. He has allowed at least 3 earned runs in... Sorry, just pulling it up quickly. In 5 of the last 6. So it has been very, I'd say, poor. There have been a lot of poor performances from Meyer over the last month or so. But Marlins are massive favorites. The over-under in this game is set at about 8. I want to take the over, but I don't trust either team to do anything in this game. And I kept taking the unders in that Giants series for the Marlins, and I won every time. So I can't complain there. I'll ask you, because it's 185, I might actually consider Rockies first 5.
Yeah, honestly, I might do that as well. My numbers, they only made the Marlins a minus 200. So maybe, but it's weird. You talk about maybe being on the under or the over. It's actually gone up. It opened up at 8. Now it's at 8.5. I see. Do you agree with the line movement before I give my play?
I can understand why the total is relatively high because both bullpens aren't very good. Mayer's been bad. Marquez's overall numbers are terrible.
Yeah.
But the fact remains, both teams can't hit.
That's the thing.
So that's why I think I'd rather pick Marquez to pitch pretty well. Mayer might give up some damage, but I don't mind Rocky's first 5. If you want to play it safe and maybe go with a plus half a run and just hope to see zeros the entire time, you might get that too. So I don't mind Rockies early because that bullpen I don't want to touch.
No.
But I do think that Marquez has kind of turned it around a little bit, and Mayer's been bad for a month straight.
Yeah, and Max Meyer, he's just a much different pitcher at home than he is on the road. At home, he hasn't been the best, but on the road, he's been even worse. But in this spot against the Rockies, they're only averaging a league worse, 2.33 runs per game on the road. Meyer's been up and down, but, his last start at home, I thought was pretty serviceable against one of the best offenses in the Cubs. So I think that's a positive sign for him. The Fish just couldn't get him any run support. That's why I hold off on the over a little bit. But I think they'll be able to get some runs off of Marquez, who I think for me, he's a fade on the road. Over a 9 ERA. He gives up 2+ runs in 6 of his road starts this season. So, yeah, I want no part of the Rockies at all. I probably would take the first 5 over or the Fish team total over, maybe a 4.5, depending on what you could get. But that's kind of how I would play this game.
Yeah. Moving on, though, to better games. You have the Angels taking on the Red Sox. Not better by much, but better technically. You have Anderson against Fitz. Red Sox are -160. The Angels are +135. Red Sox won the series over the weekend against the Braves, mainly because the Braves are even worse than the Red Sox, but the point is they're not very good in general. Angels, though, this past weekend had a... How do I want to put this? They had a pretty rough go of it against the Guardians in the last 2 games, did win the first game, but they have lost 7 of their last 8. So based on current form, I know Anderson's been pretty good this season. Fitz has been better, smaller sample. Over-under in this game, though, is set at 9.5. Total feels pretty high because the Angels can't hit either. But I think I like the Red Sox -1.5 here. I know that Fitz, once again, is not as proven as Anderson, but the Angels have been losing every game for about a week straight. And you can get a good price on the run line. Red Sox had some moments there against the Braves. +140 on the run line. I think just a great price fading a team in free fall. Give me the Red Sox, but I'll go with the under as well. 9.5 feels very high for me.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be on the other side. I'm going to take the over 9.5. I think it's high for a reason. My total came out to 9.9, almost 10, with these 2 pitchers. Small sample size, but personally, I really haven't liked what I've seen from Richard Fitz at home. And Tyler Anderson is just another one of those pitchers who struggles on the road, and he's just a much different pitcher at home. Last 2 road starts for Anderson was not good. He gave up 5 and then 4 runs. Both of those games flew over the total as well. And to be honest, the Angels in general have been an over team, 19-13 toward the over on the road. And Anderson's backed up by the worst bullpen in the league. That's why I can't touch an under with the Angels. They're terrible, their bullpen. So I just think it's a bad matchup for the Halos. The Red Sox, I do agree with the -1.5. +140 is a really good number. Red Sox smash left-handed pitching, 261 on the year. Plus, we do have wind blowing out in Boston tomorrow night as well. So I'm actually going to be on the over 9.5.
Yeah, once again, it might just be me having no faith in the Angels to do anything with their
That's
lives.
fair, yeah.
So it's kind of where I'm going. But Devers has been good recently. Red Sox offense has been better. I saw Story at a home run the other day.
Finally.
I know, he's been terrible for a while. Campbell's starting to play a little bit better, but he's been really bad for the last couple months.
For like the last month, yeah.
I know. He had an okay series against the Braves, not great. But some of the guys are starting to wake up a little bit, which kind of counts, I guess, but it's most of the Angels just being a mess. So maybe I don't mind Red Sox team total over.
That's another team. We talk about like the Athletics being the Athletics. Like the Angels are the Angels. We come in every season or in the preseason like, hey, like, maybe it's the time, because I know Mal, even Moonoff when he was on the pod, they all fell in love with the Angels.
But I would always take the under on their win total.
Always.
It was so free. So it was in the 80s a couple of times, and I'm like, you've never been relevant for basically my entire life.
Even with Shohei and Mike Trout. Mike Trout's coming back, is he not? Or is he back?
He came back a couple days ago.
How did he do?
As far as I know, okay. They're still losing games, so he hasn't impacted much. But I think he's okay
they're probably
so far.
selling more tickets though.
I actually don't know the answer to that because I believe they were on the road when he came back.
Okay.
So I haven't seen them play at home yet. But
okay, we'll see. But
we'll see what happens. But maybe they'll have. I mean, there are only so many bobblehead nights you can have for Mike Trout before you, flood the market. But it's tough for the Angels because they used to be the really bad team with the bloated payroll. I still remember the Josh Hamilton contract.
Anthony Rendon.
You had the Pujols contract. Like, they spent money just in the worst ways possible. And then they tried to, basically wait out the bad contracts and try to hang in there, but that did not work at all. So there were usually 2 staples for the Angels, though, in the last, 10 years. You have the extremely expensive contract, which is an albatross by year 2. And you have 6 years left in the contract. And 2, you'd sign the one journeyman starting pitcher for 1 year, $7 million, and they'd be terrible. And they'd go somewhere else and be good. They did that with Syndergaard. They did that with Griffin Canning.
And now he's good with us. Yeah.
I think Quintana was there for a year too. Julio Teheran was there for a year. A bunch of these veteran journeymen would just show up on the Angels for 1 year and they'd immediately leave.
I guarantee the next one is Yusei Kikuchi.
It could be.
Yeah. That's my call. That's my call.
Wasn't Kikuchi on there?
But I think they signed
him. He's on there now. That's the one that I'm talking about right now.
Yeah. But I think they signed him for like 3-4 years, though.
Could be, but same idea. They just take these journeyman pitchers that got rejected in 2 other spots and just be like, oh, yeah, you want to get the 4 spot in a rotation? It's like, I guess. Sure, you're going to pay me $8 million to do that? Okay, sure, why not? So, point is, that's what the Angels are known for, and they're back to where they started. Either way, they're moving on to the next game. You have the Brewers against the Reds. Now, for this game, the Brewers don't look now surging at this point in time against the Reds, who lost the series to the Cubs, and no shame in that. Cubs are really good, but the Reds are 2 games below. Savale is against Singer. The Reds are -125. The Brewers are +105. The over-under is set at 9 flat. I like Milwaukee in this game. I get Savale is not very good. Singer's been much better over the course of the season. But Milwaukee's been incredible for the last week. They're 4 over quietly. They have won 7 straight. They've scored at least 5 runs in 5 straight games. They are rolling. Give me the Brewers in current heater form at +105.
We've been on opposite sides these last 2. I'm going to go with the Reds on the money line, -125. My numbers made them a -150 favorite. I get it. They're on fire right now, but they still are under 500 on the road. And honestly, like you mentioned, this is more of a fade on Aaron Savale, where he really doesn't go long into games. Walks are also an issue for him as well. I just need to see a little more out of him before I could start backing him, especially on the road. And on the other side, you mentioned it, Brady Singer, he is the better pitcher of their 2. Didn't have the best month of May, but this year he has been much better at home than he has been on the road. And he already has a win over this Brewer club last month. They have the better starting pitcher. They have the better bullpen. And I would argue they have the better lineup as well. So I'm actually going to take the Reds here at home. And in Hitter's Ballpark, I think we see a high total, and I think we see an over as well.
Yeah, I think the situation for me is if the Brewers were not on absolute fire, and you asked me Singer versus Savale, I would take Singer at this price. Yeah. However, I've mentioned many times on the show, I am willing to ride a hot streak. I'll fade a cold streak, and I'll see how far it takes me. Milwaukee has just been on an insane tear offensively.
Yeah.
Yelich, I saw, got injured again. What else
is new? Yeah.
Shame, because he was great. He was having a great run recently. So Yelich might not play in this game. We'll see. I think it was a back issue for him. But after watching them just destroy the Phillies the entire weekend, plus money, I think there's some value on that.
Yeah.
So I'm going based on current form, even though I acknowledge Yelich got hurt again. So we'll see how they look with him.
He's old now.
He's had a bunch of back issues too.
Yeah.
Which is not good. But there was like a 2-year stretch where he was, I'd say, lefty Miguel Cabrera, basically. Like, he was just an absolute monster. Lefty Mike Trout for like 2 years. And then he got injured and he immediately fell apart.
We got a question for you. How did the Brewers sweep the Phillies?
They scored more runs than the other team. That's what happened. I mean, Milwaukee scored 5+ runs in every single game. They scored 17 runs on a Saturday. No, they've just been cooking. I got nothing else to add. Like, they've been great.
The interview where he goes, they got more rebounds.
Yeah, the Torian Prince.
Legendary.
But I mean, it's just how you got to look. You got to mention it, because Milwaukee's offense was very cold for like a month. And maybe they're just a bad offense that had their week in the sun where they figured it all out and they'll regress back. But right now, I don't want to fade them.
No. And I don't want to be obviously I'm a Met fan. Everyone knows that. I'm not a Phillies hater, but the bullpen is a major issue for them and has been.
Aren't you like by default a Phillies hater as a Mets fan then?
I have to be.
Are they your biggest rival in that division? Probably.
In that division, yeah, absolutely. We want to be the Braves rival, but we can't because they always beat us. That's not a rivalry,
Hey, you made the playoffs with that Lindor home run.
Yeah, that was I'm talking about historically.
That counts.
It counts, but like the biggest fan base I hate the most outside of the Phillies is the Rangers.
I was gonna guess the Yankees.
Oh no, I don't. They're not it. We're always gonna be the little.
No, but it's like territorial.
Yeah, of course. But we're always gonna. It's like the Brooklyn Nets. Like they're always the little brother to the Knicks.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So, but Yeah, I think just the bullpen for the Phillies, it's been a major problem for them this year, and it's been a problem since Girardi was there for being a manager, and it's always been a problem. And now they got their guys suspended for the whole year, right? The rest of the year.
For the record, I was not a big Alvarado guy anyway.
No,
but
but
he was very
still,
important for that
yeah,
bullpen no matter what. So, yeah, their bullpen's not great. That could be an issue. We'll see if they trade for somebody mid-season. I don't know. Maybe they call up the David Robertson hotline. I think he's still a free agent. He was actually pretty good last year, but maybe that's the guy that the Phillies go after
wouldn't
mid-season.
hurt.
Who knows? But yeah, I think to answer your question though, Harper's been banged up after he got hit by the pitch, which didn't help. But no, Milwaukee's just been good. So we'll see what happens. But either way, point is I'll go with the Brewers plus money for that one. Before we get into the other games on the card for Monday, a reminder, they're brought to you by Edgewood because they're first ever bank up for bettors, ensuring that all your transactions gambling related are approved. I know usage fees and home balance cash records as well. 100% approval for the deposit sign up today. Edgewood pepper code SGPN. Deposit $25. Edgewood deposit. Edgewood pepper code SGPN. We're also brought to Bank Fantasy because they're going along for the NBA playoffs with their extender bonus. Unfortunately, the Knicks could not force a game 7.
Oh, no.
But you had 6 games. That's a 6 games worth of bonus. It's pretty good for underdog. And the longer the series goes, the bigger the bonus gets. But when you sign up for your new account, use the promo code MLB SGPN. You get a special pick and a first-time deposit offer up to 1K bonus cash on fantasy promo code MLB SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast. Finished going through the first couple games on the Monday card. Time to keep it rolling. Just finished talking about the Brewers and the Reds. Time to move on to the Tigers against the White Sox. Now, for this one, Tigers, we saw over the weekend, have a bunch of rock fights against the Royals.
Yeah.
They had what, back-to-back 1-0 games?
Back-to-back 1-0 games. The under was free money in that series.
Yes, I may or may not have taken the under in every game, but that definitely worked out for me. Point is, though, for this one, you have Flaherty against Cannon. The Tigers are minus 200. The White Sox are plus 165. Over-under in this game is set at 8.5. First glance, 8.5, way too high. Both offenses have not been good. Flaherty's been, I'd say, underwhelming for his standards, but he's been okay. His ERA is below 4. He gave up no runs in his last start, which is nice to see. But I think for this one, Cannon, I don't like at all. I think he's not any good. However, his numbers this season are okay. Been bad lately, though. But the Tigers haven't been hitting. So I like the Tigers minus 1.5, but I don't mind the under. 8.5 is a very high total for two teams right now that are generating a lot of nothing. So give me the under 8.5.
Yeah, this one actually was a tougher game for me to handicap because I felt like the odds were spot on. I'm going to take the first 5 under. My total came out to 8.2 for the full game, so still like the under 8.5. Jonathan Cannon, he has one of the weirdest home and road splits. On the road, just fade this man. But at home, he's been surprisingly serviceable. 1.117 ERA, no home runs given up, only 2 runs given up in 15 innings. And White Sox have been in all those games, especially early on in the first 5. Tigers, they're not the best team hitting right-handed pitching. They're only averaging 3.4 runs in their last 5 games. And like you mentioned, Flaherty, he's been okay, serviceable. He had a nice bounce back start in his last start versus the Giants. So I think we'll see a low-scoring game, especially in the first 5. And we'll also have winds blowing in tomorrow in Chicago. So first 5 under is gonna be how I play. What's that field called? It's not is it guaranteed rate field now?
I'm trying to remember the exact name because
they always change.
There's a progressive rate there, and I'm trying to remember what's the name of each. But
I think it's guaranteed rate.
I will always call it Comerica.
It's always Comerica Park, just like in football, it's Heinz Field. It will always be Heinz Field.
Do you want to guess what it's called? Sorry, Comerica I meant is Detroit. That's not what I meant. Guaranteed was that?
Yeah, that was my guess. Guarantee rate.
Okay, so guaranteed rate was what it used to be called.
Oh, they changed it again.
So my bad. So Comerica was Detroit. That's my bad. Guaranteed rate was the White Sox. Now it's just called Rate Field.
Just rate.
Inflation is brutal. Now they took out the guarantee. It's just Rate Field. There's no guaranteed rate. It's just a rate. So
that's tough.
Either way. So once again, that kind of sums up on current economy issues. There's no guarantee on the rate anymore. It's just Rate Field.
Wait, we have a guy in Chicago. He says it's guaranteed rate.
I will always call it Guaranteed Rate Field.
Same.
But apparently it's just Rate Field now. So
just rate. So
I don't know.
Times are that bad?
That's my guess. I don't know. In this economy, you can't guarantee anything. I don't know.
Tariffs.
That's my guess. Tariffs,
Yeah.
I don't know. But all I know is that it always seemed like a pretty nice ballpark to visit.
It is.
Except the team always stunk.
That's
which could be good if you're visiting because that means the tickets are $4. So
it's cheap. Yeah.
Scalpers are giving away tickets.
That's what was so good about going to school in Maryland and going to see the Orioles when they stunk, because tickets were like $5-6 and I just walked down. It was great.
Yeah. But I see Nathan calling it Inflation Field. It might be the name we'll call it from now on.
He also said stop playing with us.
Yeah. I mean, I still thought it was guaranteed rate.
Me too.
But apparently they took the guarantee out. So
you can't guarantee anything with them.
No, you can't. Oh, you can't guarantee bad play.
Yeah.
But that's kind of all they can offer at this point in time. So there you go. Point is, though, for this one, yeah, we talked about it. Tigers -1.5 for me, and I'll go with the under in that one. Moving on to the next game. A matchup between the Padres and the Giants. You have Kolek pitching against Webb. For the pricing, I see nothing for the over-under or for the sides. But Webb's at home, so under. Whatever the number is. You got anything else you want to add here? The Giants can't hit at all. You're looking at Kolek, who was great to start his pro career. Since then, he's been, I'd say, struggling quite a bit. However, he does a good job of not giving up home runs. So give me the no home run in this game at a pretty interesting prop.
I like that. Yeah, it is. I do think it is those two pitchers. If so, my numbers made the Giants a -175 favorite. My total 7.2. So if they dare us an 8, you got to bet the under. I think it will open around a 7.5, though. Still like the under. Logan Webb has always been a pitcher that has been known to back at home. On the road, it depends on the spot, but at home, he's been amazing. 3-1 for them, 1.39 ERA, just 5 runs given up in 32 innings. And, his worst outing came in his last home start versus the Royals, but he gives the Giants good length. He doesn't give up the long ball. Walks are fine. And he's backed up by the best bullpen in the league as well. So, and I guess my thoughts on Stephen Kolek, they're kind of up and down.
He's fine, but he's not been good lately. So
and he'll have one really good game where like, oh wow, this guy's pretty good, and then he'll give up 6 runs to the Fish.
Yep.
And it's just like, what are we doing here?
So
I don't understand.
3 starts, 14 earned.
Yeah, so 2 good bullpens. Winds are blowing in tomorrow around 11 miles an hour in the Bay Area. So ball loves to travel there at nighttime, though, I will say. But I got to take the under with these 2 pitchers, I think.
This game just screams like 2-0.
Yeah.
It really does. So it goes hand in hand with every other game the Giants have played for the last week and a half. Moving on, though, to the next game. Looking at the matchup between the Twins and the Athletics. While the Athletics have been losing almost every game for the last 2 weeks, the Twins have been fine. They're 31-26. For the matchup, though, you have Ryan against Severino. For the money line, Twins -160 or -162. For the A's, you have +136. The over-under is at 9.5. Now, Severino this season at home has been, how do I put this, really, really bad. His ERA on the road is .87. ERA at home, 6.2. Ouch. That's what happens when you play in a very hitters-friendly ballpark there in Sacramento. But the point is, Ryan's been solid this season. Severino's been good recently. He has allowed he's allowed 3 earned in his last 3 starts combined. But the A's have lost 4 straight starts. 3 of the 4 were by multiple runs. I'm going to go with Minnesota. I know that this team offensively was not great against the Mariners over the weekend, but the A's have been useless, and Severino sucks at home. So give me Ryan here in the spot.
Yeah, honestly, I don't want. I'm not going to
bet this game at all.
Yeah, I'm not going to bet it, and I don't want parts of either side. My numbers only made the Twins a -140 favorite, but my total did come out to 9.9. At +102, sure, I'll take a slight little pizza bet on the 9.5 over. You mentioned it. Luis Severino's complete fade at home. 6.20 ERA, giving up 2+ runs in 6 of his 7 home starts, and all 6 of those games, all double digit. They've all gone over this total. Walks are also a big problem for Sevy as well. And when he exits the game, he's backed up by the second worst bullpen in the league, 7-3 toward the over in their last 10. And honestly, the whole season at home, I mentioned at the top of the show, they've been an over team, 18-10 at home. In 4 of the last 5 games, they went over again today with the Blue Jays. So 5 of their last 6. So I think we see another high-scoring game. But if I were to have to pick a side, it'd probably be Twins. I'm not going to trust him laying it that much.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page here. Every A's game at home, I'm blindly biased towards the over because I have no choice. But I do question if the Twins offense can do much, but you might see home runs, which you tend to expect in every game in Sacramento. So, yeah, I'm with you. But I can't back the A's right now.
They
This team
said
is just
Luis
a lost cause.
Severino wants to come back to New York.
Yeah, which team does he want to rejoin?
Not us. I'm good on Luis Severino.
I thought Mets fans didn't mind Severino.
He did it. He was good at home. I saw him actually pitch live a couple times. I didn't think he was terrible, but he said he would actually have taken less to stay with the Mets.
No, the issue for Severino was he couldn't keep his mouth shut. He would just provide a bunch of bulletin board material for other teams.
Stupid, yeah.
All the time.
But
I'm
good on.
He also chirped the Yankees, which I didn't really care about because as a Yankees fan, I couldn't wait for him to leave. He was terrible towards the end, but he was always a guy that seemed to have a certain fire about him, even when he sucked, and there was no off switch. He had to keep the confidence going by constantly chirping, and everyone's like, "But you have an ERA of 7. Why are you opening your mouth so much?" That's kind of how that went with the Yankees.
It's always those guys. And
he always got hurt too. He had some injury issues too, but he's been fine with the A's. He will be solid trade bait potentially in the future, but decent contract. So we'll see what happens. But I can definitely see a team trading for him if they need a starter. So there you go. Moving on to the next game. You have the Mets against the Dodgers. I saw some comments earlier about Soto. I'll get into that in a second. You have the Mets, though, using Blackburn, first start of the season, against Dustin May. May has not been very good lately. And you're looking at Blackburn, who has not pitched, now faces off against Ohtani and Freeman. So that sounds like a lot of fun for his season debut. No lines available for this game. Dodgers will obviously be favored, especially if they sweep the Yankees. But the Mets swept the Rockies. Traveling on the road, they have not been good. They are 13-15 on the road. They are just insane at Citi Field. Dodgers, though, 21-8 at home. Well, Dustin Mays has been pretty bad.
He's terrible.
At least recently has given up at least 3 earned in 2 of the last 3. He doesn't go much distance. I'm not a fan. He has struck out at least 8 guys, though, in 3 straight. So he does give up some home runs, but the strikeouts have been pretty good. Blackburn, though, is the absolute wild card here, and he might get destroyed by a Dodgers team that's woken up offensively. I like the over in this game. Just give me runs.
Yeah, what do you think he'll open up at? I'm interested.
8.5 or 9.
Yeah, I would agree. My total came out to 9.9. So
I gotta check the win though. There's a chance it's at 9.5 if the wind's blowing.
Winds are blowing out.
I'll go juice.
I'll go 9.
I'll go juice 9 or 9.5.
Yeah, I was thinking 9.
I'll toss the 8.5 out. It would have been 8.5 if the wind was blowing in, but I think that it's going to be 9, 9.5.
Yeah, Paul Blackburn making his first start since last August. He was okay in his few warm-up starts in AAA. He did struggle on the road last year, though. At home, I thought he was great. But making his first start,
I forgot you had him on your team. To be honest,
yeah.
It's been a while. I forgot.
No, it has been a while. But getting a Dodger team, that's a tough ask.
There are no lines, too, so we can't tell you what the value is. We don't know what the value is actually going to be.
So Dodgers are great at home. You mentioned the numbers. They're hitting 293. They're probably the best lineup. They're averaging 6.62 runs per game at home. They're probably the best offense in the league, in my opinion. I don't know how long Blackburn will go. You got to imagine he's going to be on some type of pitch count, but I think the key for the Mets, they got to try to limit the offense at the top of the lineup, because if they can keep those guys off the bases and the Mets could get to the bullpen, I think they could be live. The Mets did take 2 or 3 from the Dodgers in Queens about 2 weeks ago. Dodgers are going to want this series back. This should be a good game. My numbers only made him a -155 favorite. I think if we could get to Dustin May in that bullpen, I think the Mets could be live. My total, like I said, came out to 9.9. Winds are blowing out towards center field, so the ball should be traveling. But I think the key is they got to keep this offense, especially the top of that offense with Ohtani, Freeman, Betts. They got to keep them off the bases. If they could do that and kind of work their way around the bottom of the lineup, I think they could be fine. But I don't know. I don't like this first start for Blackburn, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I do think that for this one, I see a comment about his AAA numbers.
Yeah, it wasn't
that's great. Have fun with Ohtani and Freeman. Like, there's only so much AAA numbers can get you. I get that Blackburn has been solid in AAA and everything, but you're facing off against the best offense in the league right now. In your first start back against Major League offense, like, I'm not going to read too much into AAA. Good for him, though, that he actually looks healthy and he's been pitching pretty well, but I'm not going to put much stock in those AAA numbers when now you're against an offense that has been destroying the Yankees pitching staff the entire weekend, that has, I forgot, what the hell did they score yesterday?
I think it was like 15. They scored 2 touchdowns or something.
I'm saying it was 15, so they have 23 runs in the first 2 games of the series.
They didn't play tonight either.
I'm just saying, like,
yeah, no, I know.
Blackburn could get destroyed. I'm not going to
could.
read too much into it, but
Yeah.
I do think that the over's the way I'll go about it, because if May stinks, the Mets can definitely score.
Yeah.
Soto's been waking up. Alonso's been good. Lindor's been good.
Yeah.
They all had home runs today. Soto's had a home run back-to-back games, though, which is good to see. But
hey, watch out.
I gave him out to hit home run on Twitter today at 4-1. So I feel good about it. So,
did you actually make that bet?
Yes, I did.
Good job. Let's go.
So I put like half a unit on it. So
it doesn't matter.
I made like $200. But
yeah,
can't complain. But yeah, Soto, I like the matchup. So I thought it was a good spot for him. And yes, the Rockies are the Rockies. But you know what? Sometimes like a good shooter, you got to see the ball go through the hoop. So we'll see what happens. But the fact is, May can potentially give up some long balls. Blackburn could struggle. Dodgers bullpen could struggle. A couple ways to get there. I like the over in that game, whatever the line is going to be. Anyway, anything else you want to add, or should we just move on to the lock and dog plays?
Yeah, let's move on to lock and dog.
Cool. So before we get into the actual plays, a reminder they're brought to you by Rhythm, because our job at SGPN is to help you find the best picks, and now we've got a new tool to help take things to the next level. You've heard us talk about Rhythm before. They just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. They are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's models have a consistently high ROI, and they consistently win. And a reminder, they can also try out the Power Trends every day. They're uploaded daily and updated every day. And exclusive to Rhythm, no touts, no noise, just clean data-backed picks. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, start betting smarter. You know that we will be doing so. Try it out for free for a week, but you can subject free trial. Go to sportsgamble.com/RATHMM. We're also brought to you by Circa and their Ultimate Fantasy Ball giveaway, because Circa's Run Casino, Las Vegas, giving away the Ultimate Fantasy Ball experience for a 12-person league in Vegas to be drafting their teams and be sure to VIPs for their stay. We're going to get a 2-night stay at Circa Resort Casino for the entire 12-person league. Hold your draft at a cabana, stadium swim with a $5K food and beverage credit. Limited transportation is also provided to from the airport, but there's also much more included in the package. The contest is from May 5th to June 30th. Enter at sportsgamble.com/circa, sportsgamble.com/CIRCA. We're also brought to you by MyBookie.ag, because they're the place for every sport. They have the NBA playoffs, they have the NHL playoffs. Even if you have, once again, potentially no, I'd say, rooting interest in the NBA Finals, maybe, for the Pacers and the Thunder, a little bit of wagering might help you care about the finals a bit more. So keep that in mind if you want to bet on some basketball. You only have a limited amount of time left for the NBA. But they have WNBA stuff. You want to do that too. Point is, though, you can bet on a lot of different options at MyBookie, and they're also available in a ton of locations. Use crypto for your deposits, funding fast payouts to your account. For your new account, use the promo code SGPN for a $1,000 match up to $1K. Terms taken to MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast. Finished going through all the games on the Monday card. Bit underwhelming, because we are missing a couple of lines, so apologies there. We are kind of limited. But Dylan, I'll let you go first. What's going to be your lock and dog for the show?
Well, as you know, I do like to go the dog first. I like your play.
I'm calling card.
Exactly. Let's take the Red Sox -1.5 at +140. Is that correct? Is that what you said?
Yeah, the -1.5 plus 140.
Yeah, again, a fade Tyler Anderson, who's just he struggles on the road. He's a much different pitcher at home. And +140, Angels have not been good this past week or so, and they hit left-handed pitching really well, and they are starting to heat up, like you mentioned, with Devers as well. So yeah, I'll take the Red Sox -1.5 at +140 as my dog. As my lock, I wanted to go A's, but I'm going to take the first 5 under in the Tigers and the White Sox. Jonathan Gannon actually has been really serviceable here at home. And Jack Flaherty, under a 4 ERA. I think he'll be good. The Tigers have been just a dead under team as well. So I think we see a low-scoring game in Chicago with the winds blowing in. So first 5 under is going to be the lock for me, Tigers, White Sox, and then the dog is -1.5 with the Red Sox.
Yeah, so for my lock, I actually might be considering to go to the disgusting game between the Rockies and the Marlins, but I don't know if I should or not. I'm thinking about it. But you know what? I'll go with something else instead. Give me the under 8.5 in that Tigers and White Sox game at -120. I just think the line is too high. Tigers had a disgusting series over the weekend, back-to-back 1-0 games. The White Sox can't score either. Flaherty's been fine recently. I know he's not been as good as they were hoping, but he's been fine. Cannon's not good, but he said before his home road splits are noticeable. He has been better at home. I do think the total's high at 8.5. Give me the under for that one as my lock over there at Inflation Field. For the dog, what do I want to go with? I see an even money pricing, but I don't know if that's a cop-out. Is that a cop-out, or can I do that?
No, you can do anything you want, bro.
Sure. So I will go with that instead. I am going to go with the disgusting game. Thought about Milwaukee, decided not to do it because I want to see how they look without Yelich. Give me the Rockies first 5 plus half a run at even money. I think the price is kind of nuts. Mayer's been terrible. Marquez has actually been okay. Both teams can't hit, so that's a wash. But I see a spot, though, where it's plus a half at plus 100. So I think it's a pretty good deal. I'll go with that. I'll dare the Marlins to score 1 run, even in that one. But there's a chance the Rockies get to Mayer. Maybe they don't do anything, and we see a low-scoring game. Give me the first 5 Rockies plus half a run at even money as my dog.
Scott, they want home runs. You've been touting Soto all day, 4-1. You hit one yesterday as well. 2 days in a row. We need a home run prop. I've retired. I'm good.
The problem is I haven't done any of the research yet for the home runs tomorrow, so that's why
you're good at just winging it.
Yeah, I know, but the point is I actually did the research for the Naylor home run I had 2 days ago and for the Soto home run I had today. So I actually have to do some research on it. Let me just quickly see what I can do for this one. So let me just quickly see what I can get. Where the hell is this? I guess they pulled the Sierra stuff. Okay, that's fine. Let me just see the fly ball rates on a couple of... I'll tell you what, it's not going to be in that Giants game.
No.
I'll tell you that much. Definitely not going to be in that Giants game. The fly ball rate... Oh, Savale's fly ball rate is so alarming. It's a massive fly ball rate. Sorry, let me just... if you want me to actually craft it right now, I have to do a little bit of digging at the moment, so hopefully you don't mind. Wind's not going to be that big of a factor for that Brewers game. Do I want to fade Savale, who was actually very good, I think, last start? But the Red Sox also are just not very consistent. I might be tempted by it. How are lefties doing against him? 217? I was going to make a case for Ellie, but he's been decent against lefties. Let me just see what I can do really quickly. Reds. Spencer Steer has decent numbers, but he has been really, really bad this season. I might have to wait and reevaluate potentially because I'll have to look through some stuff, but maybe I'll go to that A's game. Maybe. So let me just see what I can come up with quickly. Sorry, just give me a sec.
No, you're good. Stop Geo Engineering says it feels like he's going to be unders the rest of the way this season. Whatever they're making the balls out this year, they sure aren't juice like a few years back. Do you agree? I actually been profitable on some unders.
There have been a lot of unders that I've been cashing on recently. So I don't know if it's a cold front or what the story is, but they wasted all the juice balls on the Dodgers-Yankees series. So the problem is they didn't have any for the rest of the league. By the way, I can't even go with a Twins guy because Severino's allowed 0 home runs in, what is that, 10 straight starts? 9 straight starts. Good for Severino, keeping the ball in the ballpark. But yeah, I'll have to reevaluate and maybe I'll tweet it out because right now I don't have.
Or maybe in that Mets in Dodgers series.
Yeah, but I wanted a price on that. That's kind of the problem. Fair. So that's why I'm kind of
people
stuck.
in the chat are saying, "Take your time."
We got all prices. The Dodgers one makes a lot of sense because that would be where I'd be going because May's been terrible, but I want to see the prices on a couple of guys. So I'll have to wait and see. Maybe I'll run back Soto. Who knows? But the point is, we'll see what the pricing is for that one. Anyway, anything you want to add?
No, we're good. Hopefully the Mets keep it rolling. And by the way, I will not watch a single finals game. I guarantee you that the ratings will be down. 2 Midwest teams, terrible.
You know, I'll be watching it.
Oh, of course.
It's a hell of a matchup. I'll be watching every second of that. It's great.
Can we get a semi-prediction?
Thunder are going to kill that damn team. Thunder are going to destroy that team.
In 5. That's my pick.
I got Thunder in 5, yeah. Look, we'll do the NBA preview for the NBA Finals on Tuesday. So if you want to skip that, you can just catch the last 2 minutes of this show. I think the Thunder killed that team, but I think the Pacers are entertaining.
Yeah.
Thunder are entertaining. I'm looking forward to it, but I think the Thunder killed that team.
I'm happy for Alex Caruso and Hartenstein.
So am I.
I'm glad they're going to win. So.
Well, Caruso's already won one.
Yeah. Another one.
He was on that bubble Lakers team.
He should be all. I know it's not an NBA pod, but he should be all defensive player of the year like every year, right? On that,
he doesn't play enough games. He gets hurt every year.
That's true.
But when healthy, he's an elite defensive player.
Yeah.
So, look, the point is for the finals, people are going to constantly complain. Oh, they're mid-mark. Who cares? Do you like the sport or do you not like the sport? Like, for example, we saw this a couple years ago in baseball, and maybe the World Series just sucked. I didn't go into the Rangers and Diamondbacks series and go, oh, we don't have a big market team. This is going to stink. And I was like, no, I'll watch it.
Yeah, because we love baseball.
No, the series was bad because the Rangers killed them. It wasn't bad because there were no big market teams in there. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I had an entertaining time with that. So, like, the series didn't live up to the hype potentially, but it was not because of the market size.
Perspective, yeah.
I think it's a massive cop-out when people just go, well, it's a bunch of small markets. Like, don't you want the small markets to be good occasionally?
Parity.
You want the parity.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not fun if you get the same big market teams every year and you get the Cavs against Golden State for 4 straight years in the finals.
I saw your you did not like that era.
It sucked. It was awful. And I understand the argument as well. Yeah, 2016, you had the LeBron chase down block and the 3-1. That's great. Yeah. Durant showed up. It was a waste of time.
It was over.
You ended up just getting the same 2 teams in the finals. Every other team in the league didn't have to play because you knew it was going to be the Cavs against the Warriors. Why would I be rooting for that?
Yeah. That makes it not fun.
Why would I root for the same teams to be... If I was around like the 80s, even though I find the Celtics and Lakers rivalry extremely entertaining, why would I be rooting for the same 2 teams to appear in the finals every year?
It's boring.
It sounds like a miserable experience.
Yeah. And quite frankly, we were talking a few weeks ago, this could be the start of a dynasty potentially for the OKC. They're going to be good for the next few years with
they have 5,000 draft picks. They'll be good for the next decade and a half.
Yeah, so
the only fun side note for this series is the Paul George connection because both teams became good solely from trading away Paul George for assets. That's why it's the Paul George Bowl.
Oh, that's great.
That's where it's going. But I'll be enjoying this series no matter what. I'll ask you, though, how do you feel being solely a baseball guy right now?
It's good for me. It's good for my mental health.
You had the Devils for like a week.
Oh, come on.
I'm saying you had them, though.
Hey, the Knicks went on a run. I didn't expect them.
That's what I'm saying. You had playoff atmosphere.
I never have to worry about winter and with the Jets. So, yeah, I mean, I just have solely baseball and college football starting. So I can't wait.
Who do you root for in college football? Oh, of course. Defending champions. There you go.
Not 9-time champions.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, you're not the defending 9-time champion.
No,
that doesn't change what I said.
No, do you get repulsed when, like, I'm not one of those, but they say the Ohio State
as opposed to the other Ohio State?
Just saying, yeah, just Ohio State.
Where did that start, by the way? Is there another Ohio State and they tried to separate themselves, or like what is that about?
I don't know. Personally, I just grew up. My dad's an Ohio State fan, so I grew up as an Ohio State fan. Absolutely no connection from Columbus or anywhere in the Ohio region.
No, your dad likes them because they were good.
Yeah, and I just jumped on the bandwagon.
Like the Woody Hayes era, probably.
Yeah, so
if you know who that is.
I don't know who that is, but back when they were good in the 60s.
I like how you told me, yeah, and you just have no clue the hell I'm talking about.
I'm just going on based on what you said.
Woody Hayes was the former coach of, I want to make sure that I actually got the name right. Yeah, so Woody Hayes was a former coach of Ohio State back when they were really, really good back in the day. The problem was he got fired because he punched a player mid-game. Or he tried to choke out a player mid-game, which was something. He was the head coach of Ohio State from 1951 to 1978. He was around for a long time, and then some Clemson guy intercepted a pass, and he tried to choke the Clemson player that went by the sidelines, and they fired him. He never coached again. So that's what happened. But Woody Hayes is a well-known Ohio State coach.
Legend.
So if you want to impress your dad, name drop Woody Hayes and see what happens.
After this episode, I'm going to call and be like, yo, you remember Woody Hayes?
What are your thoughts on him? Yeah.
What are your thoughts on him?
Ask him if he remembers what happens at the end of his coaching career.
Yeah,
and just see if he remembers him choking out the Clemson guy. But I was always anti-Ohio State because I actually liked Michigan for no reason at all early on. And then I got deferred from them applying for college.
Fuck
and I said, you know what? I'm never rooting for your school again.
Great academic school, though. Ann Arbor's really smart.
They didn't have a journalism program, so it would have been kind of weird for me anyway.
Yeah,
But
and you went to you're a Madison guy. Fuck them.
yeah, pretty much.
You have to root for Wisconsin now, right? I mean, you don't have to, but
that implies I'm watching the Luke Fickell era of Wisconsin football, which has not been fun at all during that time. But it's the issue I run into though for Wisconsin is that I'm supposed to root for the team that, of course, I went to the college. I'm supposed to support them. I don't like their coach. I mean, Fickell, I don't mind.
He's had success.
I didn't mind at Cincinnati. It has not worked out in Wisconsin.
No.
I don't like Guard at all for Wisconsin and for basketball, but they're boring to watch. This past year in basketball, they were not that bad, but he's a terrible late-game coach. But Wisconsin is constantly a run the ball, drain clock. We're going to remind everyone of Minnesota and Iowa, and we're going to play football like it's 1955. I don't enjoy watching that at all. Ohio State's entertaining because they have a bunch of insane wide receivers that can go for 200 yards in any game.
Yeah.
They're fun. I find Wisconsin a team I root for, but they're very, very boring to watch.
Better outside of J.J. Watt, like obviously him coming out, even Pro Bowl Joe. Pro Bowl
T.J. Watt.
T.J. Watt.
Both
of them. Better running back, Melvin Gordon or Jersey legend Jonathan Taylor?
Jonathan Taylor.
He's a legend.
It's about college or in the pros?
College.
Gordon had the crazy 400-plus yard game against Nebraska, but I was always a bigger fan of Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, he's so good, but he gets hurt sometimes.
Gordon had a good career, too. He just couldn't stop fumbling.
Yeah, that was his problem.
That was the issue of his entire career, but...
I hate mentioning that I'm an Ohio State fan because everyone says respectfully, fuck Ohio State, go blue, and I sometimes I can't say anything. I could say it now because they won last year, but then we won.
I think my favorite part, the last point I'll make of last year's Ohio State team, was how Michigan fans, no matter how dominant Ohio State was against Oregon and against all the other teams they played against Notre Dame before they almost choked away the entire lead at the end, the entire argument Michigan had was, well, we won the head-to-head game. I'm like, well, that's great. I hope they enjoy their national championship. Like, I don't give a damn.
No.
Some fans do. I mean, Michigan had something to, like, call for, but
of course, yeah.
Some Ohio State fans were like, well, we didn't beat Michigan. I'm like, you just won a national championship. What the hell are you talking about?
Is that the biggest regular season game? The game?
In college?
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, Florida State, Miami was always up there, but Florida State's been a mess.
They're trash.
And Miami has been fine, but I'm not a crystal ball guy. That's not the same as it was in the 2000s.
No.
It probably is.
Yeah.
Ohio State, Michigan.
And it usually has the most stakes.
I think it was higher than Miami, Florida State anyway, but I was always biased towards that.
Yeah.
LSU, Alabama was up there in years past.
Les Miles, yeah.
It's not really the same anymore. But yeah, it's in the main rivalry is definitely going to be Ohio State, Michigan.
And I love how like Penn State tries to be a rival sometimes. They just think.
They pretend to, even though their coach will never let them win an important game in their lives. So
had to throw a jab in at Penn State, but
either way.
I'm done with that. All right, we're good.
Yeah, point is, though, college football is coming up in a couple of months. Are you a big college football magazine prep guy?
Yes, I love it.
What's your magazine of choice?
Phil Steele.
Okay. Yeah. I did that last year. It's either Phil Steele or the Lindy's.
Lindy's are pretty good. I just think sometimes you get lost in all the information that Phil Steele, like he dedicates
that's what I'm saying. It's a little bit much.
Yeah, it is. Where if you want to get like the Reader's Digest, you go with the Lindy's. But if you really are an analytical guy, Phil Steele is the magazine for you. It's a little much, honestly, though.
I don't like to brag because I went out on a limb there. I did pick Ohio State preseason to win the championship. So
my guy. Let's go.
There we go.
Thank you,
so,
Scott.
No big deal.
No big deal.
I picked one of the favorites to win it because now you have every big team getting in because you can get 2 losses and get into the playoff anyway, so it doesn't matter. So there you go. Either way, though, point is going to wrap it up for the show. We're back once again 2 times tomorrow. Prop show Monday morning and the regular show tomorrow night. Or tomorrow afternoon, I should say. Till next time, I'm on Twitter. Reichel Radio. I'm on Twitter at DRock with 2Ks24. Till next time, good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye, everyone.